Astrology, the belief that the positions of celestial bodies influence human lives, has been around for thousands of years. It's like that guest at a dinner party who just keeps talking about their cats regardless of whether anyone's listening. It's been around forever, and despite a frankly alarming lack of evidence, it continues to attract millions of believers worldwide. People read horoscopes, they consult astrologers, and sometimes, they make major life decisions based on zodiac signs, believing that the stars, like some kind of cosmic GPS system, control their destiny. Now look, while astrology can be entertaining and reading your horoscope can be a bit of fun, like dipping a toe into a pool of nonsense, it is ultimately based on pseudoscience, generalized statements, a few psychological tricks, and let's be honest, a whole lot of misinterpretations of coincidences. It's basically the intellectual equivalent of that friend who claims they can predict the future by reading tea leaves, except it's somehow less reliable. This video, dear viewers, is going to delve into the mysterious and often ridiculous world of astrology. We're going to explore how this ancient practice manages to deceive people and, more importantly, why so many individuals continue to believe in it despite the complete and utter absence of scientific proof. So, buckle up, put on your critical thinking caps, and get ready for a wild ride through the cosmos of nonsense. One of the biggest reasons why astrology is essentially a cosmic deception is its distinct lack of, shall we say, a solid foundation in reality. It has no scientific basis whatsoever. It's like trying to build a skyscraper on a foundation of jelly donuts. It simply doesn't hold up. Science, my friends, relies on evidence, on testable hypotheses, on rigorous experimentation. It's all about looking at the world with a healthy dose of skepticism and demanding proof. Astrology, on the other hand, relies on vague interpretations, ancient texts that haven't aged well, and a healthy dose of confirmation bias. Think about it this way. There is no known mechanism by which the positions of celestial bodies, millions if not billions of miles away, could possibly influence the personality traits or life events of someone born on a particular day. Gravity, yes, tides, sure, but influencing your choice of breakfast cereal? I don't think so. If the position of planets at the time of your birth could actually determine your personality, wouldn't everyone born in the same month essentially be the same person? It would be like a giant cosmic cookie cutter, churning out batches of identical Capricorns and Geminis. And yet, despite this glaring lack of evidence, astrology persists. It's like that stain on your favorite shirt. No matter how hard you try to wash it out, it just keeps coming back. But why? Why do people continue to cling to this belief system that has as much scientific credibility as a flat earther convention? Well, buckle up, dear viewers, because we're about to dive into the psychological tricks and societal pressures that keep astrology alive and kicking, even in the face of overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Now let's talk about the psychological gymnastics that astrology uses to convince people it's a legitimate practice. Because, let's be honest, astrology is a masterclass in mental manipulation, a magician whose greatest illusion is making you believe in the trick itself. One of the sneakiest tricks in astrology's arsenal is something called the Barnum effect. Named after the great showman P.T. Barnum, who famously said, "There's a sucker born every minute." This effect describes our tendency to believe that vague, general statements apply specifically to us. It's like a horoscope telling you, "You're a person who sometimes doubts their decisions." Well, congratulations. You've just described roughly 99.9% of the human population. Astrology thrives on these kinds of generalities, these broad, sweeping statements that could apply to practically anyone. It's like throwing a dart at a dartboard the size of a small planet. You're bound to hit something eventually. And when a horoscope tells you something vague enough to be true for almost anyone, your brain goes, "Aha! See, I knew it! The stars were right." But it's not just vague statements. Astrology also plays on our innate desire to believe in something bigger than ourselves, something that gives our lives meaning and purpose. When you're feeling lost or uncertain, the idea that your life is guided by the stars can be incredibly comforting, even if it's completely made up. And let's not forget about confirmation bias, our tendency to seek out information that confirms our existing beliefs while ignoring evidence that contradicts them. So, if you already believe in astrology, you're more likely to notice and remember the times when your horoscope seems accurate while conveniently forgetting all the times it was wildly off the mark. Chapter 3. Astrology ignores scientific discoveries. You know, one of the more entertaining aspects of astrology is its steadfast commitment to ignoring, well, reality. It's like that friend who shows up to a black tie event in a clown costume. They're committed to their choice, even if it makes absolutely no sense in the given context. Astrology, as we know it, is based on a geocentric model of the universe, the idea that the Earth is the center of everything and the sun, moon, and stars all revolve around us. This idea, my friends, has been out of fashion since the time of Copernicus, who, as a reminder, lived over 500 years ago. It's like still using a rotary phone in the age of smartphones, charmingly antiquated perhaps, but utterly useless in the modern world. Modern astronomy has shown us that the Earth is just one tiny planet orbiting an average star in a galaxy full of billions of stars, which in turn is just one of billions of galaxies in the observable universe. The sheer scale and complexity of the cosmos make the idea that our lives are ruled by the movements of a few celestial bodies seem, well, frankly ridiculous. And speaking of celestial bodies, astrology seems to have missed the memo about the existence of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, planets that were discovered after the basic tenets of astrology were established. It's like writing a cookbook and leaving out entire food groups because you didn't know they existed. Now you might be thinking, but John, what about the precession of the equinoxes? Astrologers talk about that all the time. It must mean they're in tune with real astronomy. And you're right, they do talk about it, but mostly because it sounds vaguely scientific and vaguely intimidating. The precession of the equinoxes is a real astronomical phenomenon. But it doesn't change the fact that the fundamental basis of astrology is about as stable as a Jenga tower built on a roller coaster. It's like putting a band-aid on a broken spaceship. It might make you feel better, but it doesn't change the fact that you're hurtling through space in a doomed vessel. Chapter 4. Astrology exploits people for money. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say, the astrologer in the room making a killing off of people's insecurities. Because let's face it, for many people, astrology is a business, and a lucrative one at that. There's a whole industry built around exploiting people's desire for guidance, hope, and maybe even a sneak peek into the future. From daily horoscopes in newspapers and websites to personalized readings with celebrity astrologers who charge exorbitant fees, astrology has become a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's like a cosmic multi-level marketing scheme, where the only thing rising are the bank accounts of those selling you the stars. People often turn to astrology during times of uncertainty, stress, or when they're facing difficult life decisions. They're looking for answers, for reassurance, for someone to tell them what to do. And astrologers, with their vague pronouncements and promises of cosmic insight, are more than happy to step in and provide that comfort, for a price of course. But here's the thing, relying on astrology to make important life decisions is about as sensible as consulting a magic 8-ball for financial advice. It might be fun for a laugh, but you wouldn't base your retirement plan on it, would you? Chapter 5. People believe in astrology due to cultural and social influences. Now, despite all the evidence to the contrary, despite its lack of scientific foundation, its psychological trickery, and its often exploitative nature, astrology persists. It's like that old sweater you can't bring yourself to throw away, even though it's full of holes and hasn't fit you in years. So, why do people still cling to this ancient belief system? Well, dear viewers, it's complicated. Astrology, for many, is more than just a belief system. It's a cultural touchstone, a social currency, and in some cases, even a source of identity. Astrology has been deeply ingrained in many cultures for centuries. It's woven into the fabric of mythology, literature, and even language. We talk about having a bad day because Mercury is in retrograde or being a typical Gemini, as if these are just objective truths, rather than arbitrary constructs. And then there's the social aspect. Astrology, for some reason, has become a surprisingly popular topic of conversation, especially among millennials and Gen Z. It's a way to connect with others, to find common ground, even to flirt. What's your sign has become the new, what's your favorite Netflix show? This social aspect of astrology can be harmless, even fun. There's nothing wrong with reading your horoscope for a laugh or discussing the supposed personality traits of different star signs. But the danger comes when we start to take it seriously, when we let it influence our decisions or our perceptions of ourselves and others. It's important to remember that just because something is popular or culturally ingrained doesn't make it true. Astrology is a powerful illusion, a seductive blend of ancient lore, psychological manipulation, and social reinforcement. but like all illusions, it eventually crumbles when exposed to the light of critical thinking and scientific scrutiny. Outro: the stars don't control your destiny, you do. So there you have it. A glimpse into the often absurd, often frustrating world of astrology. We've explored its lack of scientific basis, its psychological trickery, its exploitative tendencies, and its cultural staying power. But ultimately, the decision of whether or not to believe in astrology is a personal one. I'm not here to tell you what to think, just to provide you with the information you need to make up your own mind. If you find comfort and entertainment in reading your horoscope, by all means knock yourself out. But let's not pretend it's anything more than a bit of fun. The stars don't control your destiny, you do. So, go out there and make your own luck.